This training is going to cover the form content type. Form content type allows you to create an interactive form that can either be submitted to an email or an Excel file or a comma delimited file, or both. You can see from here I've just got some basic text fields, a title just like you would on any other page, and then it has the submit button. I'm going to go to the edit screen here. You're going to see, same as any other page, your inline metadata, so display name, title, keywords, all of that information. The first options underneath the form content type itself are going to be how you would like to have that information submitted, whether it's email or Excel or both. In this case, it's set for both. When I do that, I get options that correspond to each of those sections. So in this case, saving results to CMS corresponds to save Excel, and if results are to be emailed, correspond with send email. So if I open up the send results to CMS, I'm going to see a configuration option, a choose a file in the folder, and then enter a file name. You can ignore the configuration page. The choose a file in the folder in which you want to save the file, that is actually selecting the folder, not necessarily the file. So it's really looking at the last position here as far as files. This portion doesn't matter. It's just using that file to get the location. So in this case, you're going to select a file, but it's really focused on the location. This is what the name of your file is going to be when it saves. And then you can pretty much ignore this, just leave it as default generic. If you're saving your results to email, you set up an email that this is going to come from. So in this case, we use Webmaster UNKWU. I'd use a generic email for your department in this case. Then you have your subject line for your email, and then the options for who it's going to go to. In this case, I've added a second one by using the plus sign, so it's going to my email twice, just my personal and my work one. I could continue to add more with plus signs. I could remove with the minus sign, so on. Then I get to the instructions for the form. So this is where you can put some copy to tell people how to fill out the form. After that, you move into the actual individual form items. We can add more with the plus sign, remove with the minus, or use the arrow keys to reorder. Under field type, you have text, which is just a simple text box. Text area, which is going to give you the area to type in like a paragraph of text, or the person submitting the form to type that in. Drop down is going to give you a pull down list of selection options. Checkbox is going to be exactly that. It's checkboxes. With checkboxes, you can select multiple options. Radio button similar to checkbox, but you can only select one item. The other two important ones are email and paragraph. Email is going to allow you to pick up the email from the person submitting the form, and when you reply back to that email, it'll actually send it to the person who submitted its email. Paragraph just allows you to put a paragraph of copy in between form fields. So if you need to separate your form into sections, you can put copy in between them. So in this case, this first field is set as text. It has a name field and label. Name and label are actually on every field that you set. Name is what's actually going to get submitted as far as what creates the variable to make the form work. Label allows you to change what the description is on the actual page and be more descriptive. So if you want to use special characters or like parentheses and percent signs or exclamation marks, things like that, you want to use label. Be more descriptive with label. So always keep name simple, and name is required. After that, you've got default value. You could default a value into the field. Most people don't really do this. It's not necessary. Then you have your validation options. You can determine on a text field, you get options for date, phone, email, and NUID. Email is going to look for anything with the @ sign and also an extension after a dot. NUID is going to look for a number that's the same number of characters as an NUID, and date looks for a month, day, year format. Then you can determine whether you want to set a field as 2 columns or 1 column. 1 column is going to put the label directly above the field. 2 columns is going to put the label to the left of your field. And then the last option is whether it's required. Your options are going to change based on the types of information or types of fields you have. So if I selected email, I get name, label, validation, 2 column or 1 column, pretty much all the same stuff. However, if I select radio button, I do get another option for values. Here I can add more values. This is just what's going to show on the page. So I'm going to have the radio buttons, one next to yes, one next to no, and one next to maybe. I could change this to a checkbox, and this would allow me to have checkboxes next to those, which then in turn would allow me to select multiple options rather than just a single. As well, you could change this to a drop down and it would have the value options as well, using the plus to add more, minus to remove, arrow keys to reorder. When you do checkboxes and radio buttons, you do get another option that allows you to change the button alignment. You can either do vertical, which will stack them, or horizontal, which is going to line them all up in a row. And then obviously you have whether it's required. The only other field that's drastically different is going to be your paragraph field. And when you look at the paragraph field, I can set it to 1 column or 2 just to kind of match up with how you set your form up. But all this is a WYSIWYG editor that allows you to put copy in, so you can put this in between fields. Once you're done adding all your form fields, you're going to have the submit button, and this is just simply the text that you want on that button, and then the actual form confirmation text. The form confirmation text needs to be kept pretty basic. You can put links in it and paragraph or 2 of copy, but don't try and do too many special character things or anything like that. It may cause some problems. Please note that you cannot test the form inside of Cascade. It will error. The only way to really test the form is to actually publish it live. If you were to go view this live, I could fill this in. If I didn't submit, say, first name, since that's required, and I hit submit, I'm going to get an error message that tells me each field that needs filled in. And go back and fill them in. When I submit it, actually, if everything filled in, I get my response message.